His Holiness Pope Peter III, with red sacred vestments, approaches the sedia gestatoria, which has been used in the Catholic Church for many centuries. The Palmarian Supreme Pontiff receives the sacred tiara, traditionally worn by the Pope in the Catholic Church. The papal tiara is a triple crown worn by the popes, leaders of the Catholic Church, from the 8th century to the 20th century. It was last used in Rome by Pope St. Paul VI. Since then it has been used by all the popes in the Holy Apostolic See of El Palmar de Troya in Spain. To begin the most solemn pontifical Mass, the hymn Tu es Petrus is intoned in Latin. The literal translation of this hymn to English is as follows: You are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church. The hymn is followed by the famous Gregorian chant, Ave Maria Stella. The Holy Father is carried by 12 Palmarian faithful, which is a great honour and privilege for each one of them. As the Pope is the Vicar of Christ and his representative on earth, he receives applause and acclamations from the faithful in the name of the one whom he represents. The Holy Father rises from the gestatorial chair and proceeds to walk under the papal canopy, which is a sign of respect and consideration towards him, and which also represents his utmost importance as the universal leader of the Church. Today's feast is that of our Crown Mother of Palmar, illuminatrix of the Holy Palmarian Councils. The desire of the Pope and of all those present is to honour our Heavenly Mother, the Blessed Virgin Mary, with the greatest dignity possible, since it is about pleasing the one who is the universal Empress, Queen of Heaven and Earth. At this moment, the Holy Father is vested with red shoes by his personal chaplains. As a symbol of the blood of Christ and of the martyrs, red shoes have been worn by all the popes since the Middle Ages. The Holy Father is now preparing to carry out the solemn canonizations. The papal chaplains assist the Holy Father with every detail to perfection.
His Holiness Pope Peter III is now going to solemnly canonize one bishop, one tertiary man, and 3 women tertiaries, all members of the Order of the Carmelites of the Holy Face.
Nos, Pedro III, Sumo Pontífice, Vicario de Cristo, sucesor de San Pedro, siervo de los siervos de Dios, patriarca del Palmar de Troya, de Gloria Iglesia, heraldo del Señor Dios de los ejércitos, buen pastor de las almas, inflamado del celo de Elías y defensor de los derechos de Dios y de la Iglesia. Nos, como doctor universal de la Iglesia, con la autoridad de nuestro Señor Jesucristo, la de los santos apóstoles Pedro y Pablo, y la nuestra personal, elevamos hoy a la dignidad de la gloria de los altares. Al venerable siervo de Dios, el obispo Padre Tarcisio María de la Santa Faz. Al venerable siervo de Dios, el terciario Daniel Dali. A la venerable sierva de Dios, la terciaria Brígida Teresa Nonon. A la venerable sierva de Dios, la terciaria Isabel Esselbauer del Girlinger. la terciaria Maria Selina Brigida Timonei de Mahoni. Pedimos por la intercesión de estos nuevos santos. San Padre Tarcisio María de la Santa Faz. San Daniel Dali. Santa Brígida Teresa Nonan. Santa Isabel Esselbauer de Girlinger. Santa María Selina Brígida Timonei de Mahoni.
After the solemn canonizations, the Holy Father incenses the altar accompanied by the hymn Vexia Christus Inclita. Most Reverend Father Abraham Maria and Father Matthias Maria prepare the altar for the celebration of the solemn Pontifical Masses. Now begins the first of the 8 Holy Masses. During the Holy Masses, the Holy Trisagion is prayed to the Most Holy Trinity and to the Divine Mary. Eight Holy Masses are celebrated during the solemn Pontifical Mass. The Palmarian Holy Mass has been reduced to the essential parts so that a greater number of Holy Masses can be celebrated. The rite of the Palmarian Mass is very similar to that celebrated by our Lord Jesus Christ in the first Mass of the Cenacle on Holy Thursday. By performing the ceremony with the maximum possible splendour, Christ and the entire Blessed Trinity are greatly pleased. As is customary in the pontificals, the prayers are recited in Latin. For the blessing at the end of the 8th Mass, the Supreme Pontiff receives the sacred tiara. Then the sacred staff in the form of a triple cross. The triple cross is the official emblem of the papal staff. The Holy Father then proceeds to deliver the papal blessing. Those present receive a plenary indulgence. For the incensing of the altar, the solemn Salve Regina is intoned, a beautiful traditional chant. At the end of the Pontifical, the tertiary faithful approach with the sedia gestatoria to carry the one who has the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Words of Christ to St. Peter. To you I will give the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you shall loose on earth shall also be loosed in heaven. Faithful from all over the world, young and old, have come for this great event. many centuries, the Catholic faithful came to Rome to receive the blessing of the popes from their gestatorial chair. Today, this holy tradition lives on in the true Church of Christ, the one Holy Catholic, Apostolic and Palmarian Church. The Holy Father receives acclamations from the nuns of the Order of Carmelites of the Holy Face, whose number has almost doubled since Pope Peter III began his pontificate. On returning to the papal sacristy, the Supreme Pontiff gives his blessing to all. From the mystical desert of El Palmar de Troya, His Holiness Pope Peter III, as true Vicar of Christ, continues to shepherd the flock of the one Holy Catholic, Apostolic and Palmarian Church, confided to him by her divine founder, our Lord Jesus Christ. In a world of general apostasy, this great caudillo del Tajo firmly and courageously combats present-day errors and aberrations, thus preparing the Church for the coming apocalyptic events, which will culminate in the glorious second coming of Christ, now very close.